With the discussion now. You are all welcome and we appreciate you for joining us on this meeting. Please, I'm quickly going to run through the topic of discussion and thereafter we want to discuss as time permits us. The theme of this discussion is sustaining food security in the face of insecurity challenges in Nigeria, the role of the youths. Now, Nigeria has a population of over 200 million with a growth rate of 2.6% annually. Scholars predicted that by 2040, the Nigerian population is expected to rise to about 400 million, which is of course an issue, with more than half of this population being youths. What this implies is that Nigeria has an ever-expanding need for food in order to meet the food and nutrition for its growing population and to achieve security. The current situation is that Nigeria lacks both the capacity and the capability to produce to feed the population despite its favorable agroecological condition. In other words, Nigeria is insecure. According to the Federal Ministry of Nigeria, it implies that Nigeria imports 3.5 million items of food annually, which is really a concern for this nation, especially wheat, rice, fish, and other items, including fresh foods. Now, the increasing population means that more and more resources will be devoted to food importation in order to meet the basic food needs of this country. So to this extent, I'm inviting all of us, which I want to believe everybody on this discussion is a youth, to look at the issues on ground, causes, and how we may to these issues that are bedeviling us. So I'm going to ask these questions so quickly, and then we'll take them one after the other. What role can the youth play in enhancing food security in Nigeria? 2, what are the effects of insecurity to sustainable food security in Nigeria? What are the possible solutions to the challenges of food insecurity in Nigeria? Last but not the least, what efforts can the government make to enhance the role of youth participation in agriculture in order to enhance food security in Nigeria? So I'll open the floor for our first question on the line. What can the youth play? What role can the youth play in enhancing food security? Are committed. Aisha, you are the youth, you are a journalist and a youth activist. I want you to give or to throw some light on this, please.
Thank you very much. Good morning once again, everybody. Now, for me, hello, can you hear me, please?
Yeah, loud and clear, go ahead.
Okay. For me, most times when I want to have conversations like this, I always come hitting hard on the youth because I think the youth are not ready. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, go ahead.
I think the youths are not ready, but be that as it may, let me go towards the roles the youth can play in enhancing food security. First and foremost, I think the youth need to get involved in agriculture. There are many areas in agriculture that they can get involved in. It doesn't just have to be even going to the farm and doing manual jobs, but there are many areas that they could get involved in. And there's this person I know, I think he is in Kaduna. He was a banker who left banking and then went into farming. We call him the farmer in suit. I really can't remember his name. We call him the farmer in suit. You can get into farming, get involved, and come in with your swag if swag is the issue. And then again, we have to change our mindset of this everybody looking out for a white collar kind of job. We have to change our mindset of thinking that agriculture or farming or food production is a dirty thing. We have to change our mindset from the fact that, we have to change our mindset from thinking that we're above a particular kind of job, a particular kind of thing. For me, as long as it brings income to you and it makes your country or whatever you do better, I think they should get involved, change their mindsets. That's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mohammed, will you want to throw more light on this? Hello, Mahmoud, are you with?
Yes, I'm with you.
Yeah, just a question that what role in enhancing security in this nation? Aisha has come up with a very reasonable, and I'm hoping you can throw even more. Amo, did you?
Because I'm not connected to the Wi-Fi.
Mahmoud, did you get my question?
No. Please come again.
Okay. Actually, we're saying what role play in enhancing security in Nigeria? Aisha has been able to throw some light on it. I'm hoping add your own discussion to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Kamar. Can you go on?
Hello.
Kamar, are you getting me, please?
Hello. This is Kamaluddin Ahmed.
All right, I'm listening to you.
Yeah. I think we as the youth have a vital role to play when it comes to food security or addressing food security. Looking at the violent conflict happening all over the world, the majority of youth that are used in the conflict, be it political conflict or ethnic or all other forms of conflict. And then looking at the definition of food security is when all people at all time have access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food. So in the presence of conflict, there is no way that the people will have access to that sufficient, safe, and nutritious food. So based on this, I would like to call on the youth to desist from involving themselves in any form of violent conflict. Thank you. That is my contribution.
Okay. Thank you for your view on this. Abdullahi, I'm seeing as though you want to throw some light on the issue on this. Hello, Mahmoud. Hello, Mr. Mahmoud. Are you with us, please?
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Yes. Good morning.
Do you want to contribute to this?
Yes.
All right.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning.
I'm delighted to be part of this online discussion on the topic food security to insecurity challenge. If I may center my discussion to our dear state, Niger State.
All right.
And from the umbrella organization that is marking this International Day that bring down the discussion of this very important topic at this important time, I will say the organizers of this discussion have done well. And so also, it is indeed a question or a topic that needs stakeholders, not only from only the youth wing, I mean the youth constituency where most of us on this platform at this present time are from, but rather stakeholders from government wings as well, because we are talking about security of individuals, properties that will link and guarantee that of food as well. As the last person said, Mr. Kamalu, I have said it all. Every crisis, yes, every crisis you can think of. The cardinal focal person in any crisis you can think of, either political, communal, and what have you. It's targeted to us, the youth. And not only insecurity in an environment, not only a deficit to food security alone, but virtually to every sector you can think of as far as meaningful life living is concerned. So it is in that line, I want to draw the minds and also focus the mindset of the youth to be focused, vigilant on the doings of politicians and well-meaning individuals who look up to us as tools to make destructions. So as the discussion is expanding, I think we will come with more of this contribution so that other people can contribute as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mahmoud, for your contribution.
Yes.
But a direct question is,
yes,
how can we now the population of the Nigerian youth alone,
yes,
looking at stats, more than the population of some African countries. Now, how can I'm saying, how can psychology and the mindset of the youth be redirected towards positive development in every aspect of this nation, apart from only agriculture. How do you think this can be achieved? Because
yes, thank you. I think your question is very important, but you and I can testify to the fact that Nigerian youth are of a lot of potentials. Some significant things need to be adopted before what you call a redirectional mindset of Nigerian youth to another developmental aspect of the entire sector comes to be. One out of those significant factors must be the government, who at this present time are the stakeholders, must imbibe the culture of trusting the upcoming youth. When trusted, we must also be putting on a driving seat of tests. When doing that, as assessment must also be adopted to the test you are put into. And by doing that, you will get to understand who should fit in on which seat at which time. We're all of potentials, different from different angle you can look at it. But you can't get it exploited if you are not given the opportunity, you are not trusted. So this your question needs a call from the stakeholders who are the government to trust us, test us, assess us, and place us where we ought to be. And I'm assuring you, the sky will be the limit of Nigerian youth. Thank you.
thank you very much. Mohammed, I can see you on the program. Can you discussion too? Aisha, I can see your hand up. Initially, you said that you hit hard on the youths when discussion. So can we hear your point of view?
Thank you very much for another opportunity to say something.
All right.
Like I say all the time, I do not hit on the youth because I have a problem with, I hate the youth. I hit on them so we could change our attitude. I listened to Mr. Mahmoud talk now, asking to be entrusted with something or with some kind of positions of leadership. But I would like to ask a question. Are we ready as young people? Can we give what we do not have? Majority on the people on the streets doing the things that are anti-government, anti-everything, anti-society are young people. And I have a question. Where did we get all of this wrong? Now we have to start from the home if we want to change mindsets. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to hit hard on every single one of us. I am driving in Mina town and I get up to you see, you don't put every blame. I'm sorry, I'm raising my voice. You don't put every single blame and responsibility on the government. Ask yourselves as a person, what are you doing to make a change in this country? I drive on the streets of Mina and I get to the traffic light and I stop when the light says red, stop, because I have a child who is in the car and he knows that in school they said to him, red is for stop, yellow is get ready, and then green is to move. And people are running behind me saying, I shall get off the road, I need to move. That is one. I think it is us, the people, now, before the government. Yes, we know the government has their own problems, but as a people, have we put ourselves? Like yesterday, I was listening to Bode George. He said Nigerians are not ready. And the truth is that we're not ready to get to that point where we want to get to. Secondly, you have to change from the home, because you can't have children and keep teaching them that these wrong things are normal, because we're beginning to turn abnormal to normal in Nigeria. The government has even provided some schools. Yes, infrastructures might not be there, but you as a parent sends your child to school and he chooses, a young man prefers to go to school, do drugs, do crime, look for how to do Yahoo and come back home expelled from school. Is this the government's fault now, or the fault of the child who has refused to go to school, learn, but rather will go do drugs and do Yahoo and come back home for the parents? Now, another thing that could make us change is if government punishes people. Now, I'm done with the youth. I don't want to emphasize on the things that they do, everything. That one is a whole discussion for one whole day. Now, if government punish people who are involved for crime and everybody sees that there is punishment for this particular crime, things will get better. Now, they should show that there is dignity in labor. Now, in Nigeria, there is nothing like dignity in labor.
Okay. Aisha, we're losing you now. Are you still there? Hello, Aisha, are you still there? Okay, Mohammed, you are welcome. Can you contribute to this discourse?
Well, thank you very much. Can you hear me, please? Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello, we can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead, please.
Everyone, my name is Mohammed. Mohammed, I'm the convener and of course the chairman of the North Central Stakeholders Youth Forum. Thank you for having me and thank you for this wonderful event, and then happy International Youth Day to all the youth out there, and of course the parents who have managed to grow, to manage and bring up beautiful young people across this continent. Well, irrespective of, I've just come in, apology for that. And based on what I have gotten from the discussion so far, and the analysis that is being given by the speakers that I have met discussing on this platform is, you see, as far as this country is concerned, one thing we must know is that when you give birth to a child, there are responsibilities that are expected of you as a father, the one for family and the one for community, and then the one for even the government. So what we have now in this country is that from family up to the community, up to the family, up to community, up to government, virtually everybody have abandoned his or her responsibility. Largely, not in all cases. Let me correct that impression. But majority, what we used to have before now, you can ask any of the elders, any of our grandparents, and of course parents if they are so old also, that ab initio before now in this country, it was used to be a source of, from childbirth up to the stage of adulthood, you have each and every one taking responsibility as to how they want to predict what the child should be in life. Now the family take care, make sure that the issue of morality, what and what not to do, they ensure that what they do so that the child will see and copy become part of their daily lives. And as such, the child grow up with that, seeing from what his parent or his family members are doing. Now to the community, when I grow up in my street, if something happened, before even my family members or my parents will come on to assist or intervene in the situation, neighbors and of course elders from the society, from that street, will have taken care, will have intervened, will have made sure that I do the right thing. And where that I am right and somebody is wrong, they correct it. So you have a society which is inclusive, which any other person is a stakeholder. Now, the moment you have reached an age of going to school, there is access to this education at both nursery, primary, even from kindergarten. Now, today, these things are no longer as it used to be. You know, from after a child is being born, survival becomes very difficult. Today, we are talking about issue of food security. You find out that even access to this food, even from childhood, become difficult for parents to be able to get these things. And then if they get in, when you see so many of these young children very malnutritious, and then when they are growing up, there is no access to this education. The parent cannot afford what it takes to take them to a school that at least can impact knowledge on them. When you even get to go take them to school, the teachers who impacted this knowledge, what is their own condition today? Some of them are not qualified. It is because they don't have job, they don't have passion for the work. So they don't care about what you do or who child you brought in. All they need to do is that they will come, deliver a lecture, some of those things that they did not even understand.
Mohammed,
yes,
with all that you have said, you have discussed where we have morality in child upbringing,
yes,
which has affected society now. Now, as youths, you've discussed food challenges, the malnutrition. As youth, to what extent, how can we enhance Nigeria?
Well, thank you very much. Let me say, well, you know, when we are talking about food insecurity, generally, there has to be the issue of reliable access to very sufficient quality and affordable and even nutritionist food we are talking about. Now, the young people, when you check around the country, the lack of access to so many things then have given us a large army of young people roaming the street doing nothing. Now, going forward, as a young people and what we think we should be doing, it is going to be collective responsibility. A platform like yours, government, NGOs, and of course, so many community participation too, to ensure that we begin to look at this agricultural sector. What opportunities are there for young people? Where are they needed? Where can they come in? Let me say this. You know, agriculture is generally a very, when you look at it in the large scale angle, it's a very capital intensive issue. Getting access to land, getting access to capital, getting access to manpower, and so many other things. But then there are value change. Now, what we can do as a people is that I'm happy one of the discussants is the Commissioner of Youth in Niger State, Honorable Emmanuel. So what we are saying from the Ministry of Youth and then from the angle of the Abdul Salam Abubakar Institute of Peace, we want to see whereby the rainy season is approaching. You know, Niger State, for example, let me use Niger State as an example. We are endowed with a lot of vast land that can be cultivated for so many types of crops. Now, we expect government should begin to provide this land. Accessibility to this land is very important. Now, government and NGOs should be able to come up to say, okay, this land and this land, these are the best crops that can be involved, that can yield when you plant on them. And then thirdly, you begin to provide access to the seed, and then begin to provide small loan. Now, all we need to do is to categorize these young people either graduate or non-graduate, school leavers or not. You categorize them, you group them, and then you train them. These are some of the roles that the Abdul Salam Institute need to take, because if you are talking about peace, you must also be concerned about making sure that the youth are trained and educated on where to go. Because if they do not have anywhere to go and they don't know what to do, then the peace you are trying to assess will not be. So by the time you balkanize these youth into groups across the country, you create sort of boot camps where they will go, they will be there at least 3-4 months, they will be trained on a particular certain crops or particular distance. Then after that, you begin to monitor them, send them to the farm, let them begin to produce. Now, this time we are in is a time that tech is very important. Now, so many of these youth have access to Android phone and so many other things. While some are categorized as farmers, some must also be categorized as those people who will take advantage of the value change.
All right, Mohammed, thank you very much. We get your point quite clear. I have a discussant also online. Shaibu wants to contribute to this discussion. So Shaibu, you are on, please.
Thank you.
Shaibu, you may need to unmute yourself so that we can hear you.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Thank you very much. The last speaker was the one that introduced me to this forum. And my name is Shaibu Doda, as can be seen on the screen. I'm from Borno State. You posted it on your status, even though I think you don't have my number, but I do have your number, Mohammed. Yeah, thank you. Actually, apart from what Mohammed contributed, I've heard what Mahmoud contributed and that of Aisha Wakasu. But I will agree 100% with what Aisha Wakasu contributed said. But in regard to Mahmoud, I may have some little disagreement, but my agreement is for us to agree, not to disagree completely. Actually, as youth, how we are going to contribute for this nation to move forward is to look at the way and manner the government is introducing new policies in this country. The truth here is that
Shaibu, you have muted yourself.
very fast. We even run faster than yours to adopt policies, you understand, or domesticate it. That sometimes got many government organs to have a mandate clash. And that mandate clash results into ineffectiveness, unnecessary clashes between these governments. So for me, my little advice, my little take here is that we as youths should try as much as possible to engage with these newly introduced policies, go through it before passing into law, so that during public hearings, we'll be able to air our views to either amend it or even do away with it when there are agencies that have same mandate. Like here in Borno State now, we have something called Educational Resource Center. It's a government agency. Later on, another bill came in, that Education Endowment Fund. They have the same mandate. To me, it's just adding cost of government in many folds that doesn't guarantee anything. And in regard to this insurgency, we have SEMA. This summer, we also later on, after 2 or 3 years, there was one. There was one other committee by government to look into IGPs. Later on, we got another agency called Agency for the for Coordination of Sustainable Development and Humanitarian Response. What are we doing? How much are we going to rent a building to run these offices? The vehicles, the manpower. You understand? So I think we as youth, we need to take up this thing. Let's not be lazy. Let's look into, let's engage these new policies. In fact, let's engage the existing ones and advise properly. Thank you very much. That's my contribution.
Yes, I'll see. Okay, Mahmoud Mohammed wants to say something.
Yes, thank you. Hello, can you hear me?
Hear you loud and clear, Mahmoud. Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. I want to a bit draw us back to the contribution from my sister, Aisha Wakaso. I want to believe she didn't get the question you put on the table because she misunderstood my answer by saying whole blames shouldn't be on government. But I'm not blaming the government, but the question asks, how are we looking at redirecting the mindset of youth to another layers of developmental in the society? And that was when I came up with my response by saying, being trusted, tested, and being assessed, so that we can one day, by monitoring of that same government, can sit on the driving seat to drive this country one day. My sister Aisha, having said that, you go to the point saying it's not the government that say one should violate traffic rules and other things. But I want to say, I don't want us to deviate by making attacks to government, but on this topic at hand, that need to be done slightly. Because when you are talking about security challenge and food security, I'm happy one of the discussants in this forum is Commissioner of Youth. If you are discussing security and food, you can't run away from discussing in line with the stakeholders that can be accountable for those two fundamental things.
Mr. Mahmoud, thank you very much. Your point is made. What Aisha is talking about is that she's give an example using the traffic light issue. But the point is made and it's clear. I can see Abdullahi raising his hand. Abdullahi.
Yeah, good morning to us all. My distinguished youth partisans, my honorable commissioner, and the host in general, I greet you all. I have listened to most of the participants who have spoken on this platform, but let's not deviate from the topic. There are two things involved: food security and insecurity. taking a case study of Niger State, a state with the largest landmass and favorable for agricultural activities. Now, when we talk of food security, it's not just all about farming. The host said it the other time that those who cultivate the crops are one sector. There are those who process the food produce as well before getting to the consumers. And now when we talk of the processes, I think this is where some of us who are not maybe agricultural oriented can be engaged in order to secure the food processes as well. Now, what we are trying to avoid is not having a society that will be handicapped when it comes to availability of what to eat. Today, in our axis, those who are farming find it difficult to even go to the farm because of the insecurity activities. But the question is there no any other way? Yes, Madam Aisha said something. I know she was talking out of the pains. It's not that she's that angry. Of course, we love each other, but she's talking from the pains, which is our people being ignorant of what is expected to do in order to have a better living. But madam, I believe in one person can make a change because thank God this era we have a commissioner who is taking everybody along. Gone are the days whereby we are information handicapped. Sir, we have the National Youth Investment Scheme of a thing. We have the Survival Fund. We have the COVID-19, whatever. How many of us were able to utilize those opportunities given to us by the government is one question. Mr. Mohammed said it. Many of us don't want to work. All of us are looking for a soft landing to make money, forgetting the fact that before you earn something, you have to also do something. So looking at the fish farming hub, I believe in Niger State, the fish hub is somewhere that yields a lot for the people. Rice hub, we have sugarcane hub. So all these available and accessible produce for now, we can engage the youth into that perspective. Pending when the insecurity might be tackled, insecurity issues might be tackled. For now, I suggest we the youth can come together and see how we can create ways with the available accessible farm produce, like the sugarcane, the rice, the fish. I think the other crops around Mariga, Rijal, where we have large production of maize, millets, guinea corns, and coat. Since we cannot access all those ones now because of the insecurity, I suggest for now, let's utilize what we have. In the absence of the desirable, they said the available becomes the desirable. So if we can go into the sugarcane, some farming, some processing it into the sugarcane juice, some processing into sugar, I believe we can export all these kind of things. Even not outside Nigeria. Within Nigeria, there are zones that needs all these things. Likewise, rice. Many private people, many individuals are coming into private rice mill now. So if you cannot get all these machines, we can engage youth. Some go into the boiling process, some go into the destoning process, some goes into I think there are a lot of processes. And let me even say some go into the bagging process. By so doing, you are engaging the youth into something, and everybody will partake into this, and there will be more production of rice. And even with this, it can generate revenue for not just the society, the state, but even the country at large. So I'm just even taking rice as an example. Same thing can be done for fish. Some go into fish food processes, some go into the fish ponding, some even going into the hatchery aspect, some going into the drying process. Look, by the time we do all this, it will give us the opportunity to get an income where we can create more resource centers, more private orientation centers, and even give support to other neighboring states or neighboring countries at large. So please, let's focus more on what processes we should engage the youth in. Let's put an assumption that many youth don't know what to do. Many youth are idle. Because you go to school, doesn't.
Thank you very much.
I
will stop you here. Points. I'm seeing Mohammed. I'll give you 2 minutes to air your mind. Move on, please. Mohammed, you have to, I can hear you.
Hello? Can you hear me now? Thank you very much. Once remind us of something. You know, the Northern Nigeria contributes so much to the food basket of the nation. And with the insecurity ravaging the North as it is today, and with from the statistic and the information that is coming from the World Food Program and other agencies that are, of course, concerned about the issue of food insecurity, of course, is the fact that even the North itself this time around, that there is likelihood that is going to be challenged by the shortage of food, and this will greatly affect generally the country and even some of the neighboring countries as we are talking about. So therefore, these are the topic for discussion and on the International Youth Day is very important. When you articulate whatever each speaker here is saying, you need to understand that if given a blank check, one, there is this non-coherence of the youth coming to understand, of course, what is really needed of them to do. Now, having said that, we needed somebody somewhere to, of course, like what you are doing now, to talk to us, bring us together, coordinate the youth, bring us so many challenges that we have as to regards to how to go about it. Abdullahi Ishaq just said it now, that of course, and I have said it, I mentioned it earlier, that we are into different, we have so many different kind of opportunities and then capacity as young people. All we need to do is that the person or the agency that will supervise this holistic approach to issue of food insecurity in the country must identify those who can farm, those who can key into the different opportunities that are there in the agro business across the country. Now, what we are saying is that when you check, now that the North is affected as far as this issue is concerned, so therefore, other regions who at this point in time, they have not begun to have this serious issue of insecurity, there must be a holistic approach going forward as soon as possible. That's why I say this topic come at the right time. What can we do? There is what we can do. We can identify ourselves. We can begin to come up and then sit down, come out with a blueprint, identify at least, even if it's not, there are so many areas like we say in agriculture, identify even if it's 10 or 5 particular places. Abdullahi have mentioned them now. We can look at others again. Which one can ensure that within the next 1, 2, 3 years, there is massive youth activity within the farm? If by the time you remove these young people,
thank you much. Thank you very much. I'm going to come to issue of solutions.
Okay.
And I'll come to that soon. But now, can we quickly look at effect of insecurity on food sustainability? Initially, someone mentioned it, but I want it to be practically discussed. Insecurity has greatly affected the food sustainability in our own country. Aisha, I want to take you up on that quickly.
You asked on the effect of insecurity, right? Was that your question, please? Hello?
Hello, exactly, that's my question. How insecurity has affected food sustainability in Nigeria?
Well, there is a decline in productivity at the moment, especially in areas where there is high insecurity. Like in Niger State, I gathered that people from the Munya local government and all of that are running away from their farms because they are scared of being kidnapped. Now, there's a decline in productivity already, and then the decline is leading to hunger. Many people are unable to to afford food. And when there's a decline, automatically there is insufficient food, there is high rate of crime, because when people cannot afford food or cannot access food as easily as they could, it has led to increase in crime. It has led to hunger, and it has, well, crime, I didn't want to go into details of what kind of crimes, but just crime in general, and then there's hunger in the land. Thank you. Poverty too, sorry, I didn't include that.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I want the man from Maiduguri to throw more light on this also. Abdullah Ishaq.
Yeah, thank you very much. It has affected it in several ways, just like she has mentioned one or two, in terms of food production, even the storage, and as well the transportation. And the reason why I'm saying that is for production, taking Niger State as an example, where a lot of a lot of different crops have been produced in, I think, both zone B and the zone C axis, and even some part of zone A axis, there is no way one can go out there now and farm. And those who have farmed and have harvested, they even the insecurity has affected them in the sense that some of them are being ravaged. Some of the farm produce that they store, maybe for subsequent usage, has been ravaged. And also it has affected the transportation of such food produce as well. One cannot successfully transport food from the interior areas to the city where many people can access or purchase. And not just Niger State, I believe many other northern and even the eastern or western states as well has been affected. Taking, for example, the Maiduguri, I believe my brother from Maiduguri have somehow said it, where the Boko Harams have disturbed them, and even our axis here, where the cattle the banditry or the cattle rustling issue has affected them. So with this, many people are scared of going out there to farm. Even the youth these days, that some of them might have the interest to go and farm, their parents will say no. Maybe a family that has just 2 children, 1 male and 1 female, and the male will like, Daddy, I want to go and farm. The father will say, no, you are the only one I have. So it has affected the society and the food security in many ways. Let me leave the forum for some other people to contribute as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your contribution. The Department of Micro, I don't have your name, but I can see your hand and you can go ahead and contribute, please. We don't seem to hear you clearly. Maybe you should unmute so that we can hear you. We seem to have lost him there. Mohammed, I'm giving you a minute to contribute, please. Go ahead. Mohammed, you can unmute and speak, please. The man from Department of Microbiology, you can unmute and discuss, please. You have just 1 minute. We can hear you. Go ahead, please. Hello, we can't hear you. Can you speak? Can you speak louder? Okay, the floor is open to the general house. Anyone who would want to make any contribution can please unmute and speak.
Hello, can you hear me, please? Hello?
You can hear
Hello?
you. Go ahead, please. You can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Are you asking us to speak generally on the topic and not on any particular question you have asked? Hello, sir. Please, did you hear me?
Aisha, I heard you loud and clear. Go ahead, please.
Okay. So I am saying that, the solution to food insecurity in Nigeria requires a tripartite action. It's not just a one-person thing, or it's not just a one-sector thing. First and foremost, it starts from the family, like I say all the time. We have to conscientize our children to let them know that food security or having to get involved in the agricultural sector is not a dirty thing. It's not meant for only the poor people. It's not something they shouldn't get involved in. We also need to work on the psychic of our children from home. So everybody does not have to be a medical doctor or a lawyer. Now, down to the youth as a people now, we need to really know. We need to learn, unlearn, and relearn some things that we have learned from the past. We need to be aware. A lot of young people do not even have an idea of what the Constitution says concerning their own rights. They do not know the laws. They do not even know policies that will come and favor them. Even policies that agricultural policies that could assist them, and insurance, government policies on agri and insurance, they do not even have an idea of it. I think they should develop themselves on those areas and improve themselves better and think outside the box. It's time for us to think out of the box. It's time for the youth. And then for government, I think it's time for government to take agricultural issues very seriously. Now, the budget on agriculture for Nigeria annually is nothing to write home about if we have to tackle food insecurity. They have to promote mechanized farming. Now, you can't expect Nigeria, about 90% or more of farmers do it manually. With this kind of large and growing population, how are they supposed to meet up with feeding the growing population of Nigeria? So the government should promote mechanized farming, not only promote them, but equally provide these machines. Probably, I don't know how they will do it, but there are ways they could decide to do it. If this machine works in this farm today, they move to that farm, they do this on that farm. Can you hear me, please?
Aisha, we can hear you. Go ahead, please. Hello, Aisha, we can hear you. You can go ahead, please.
Hello, can you hear me, please? Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Go ahead.
Hello?
Aisha,
Hello?
we can hear you. We can hear you. Aisha, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Can you hear me, please? Okay, thank you. Now they have to provide these machines. I don't know how it could be done, but then provide machines, probably word by word, to work on these farms. They have to make agriculture, whatever chain is a value chain, is a long value chain. Whatever value chain it is, make it look attractive and lucrative for young people to get involved in. Because manual farming is one of the most things that discourage. They should put more funding into agriculture. Like I said, the funding for agriculture is underfunded in Nigeria. Then there should be continuity in policies. A government does not come with Operation Feed the Nation and the next government comes, I'm sorry, because of politics, you throw away all those policies. Now it gets halted and then you start one all over again. What happened to the one that was going on before? And then, I'm sorry, I'm a woman, and so I always come up with issues that affect women. You have to support and initiate programs that empower women farmers. There are some cultures in Nigeria that a woman cannot lease a land. There are cultures in Nigeria that a woman cannot even speak about a land. We have to really relax some of these cultures to enable women own lands, to enable women work, lease farms, lease lands, and then work on farms. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Aisha, for that contribution. But before my honorable commissioner, I'll come to you on an issue very quickly, please. But before then, Aisha has mentioned a whole lot of issues, but my direct question is, how can the youths have a synergy? How can the youths be organized to achieve these issues or these possibilities that have been tabled down? Hello, Aisha, I'm saying how can the youths who are at the center of this whole issue, how can we have a synergy of the youths? How can we bring them together, possibly in groups or in associations, to be able to achieve this food security and possibly other things for the nation?
Well, can I say something?
Go ahead, Mohammed.
Well, thank you very much. You see, as it is today, we have the National Youth Council of Nigeria with a very broad national youth policy from the federal government and then taking down to the state. the Ministry of Youth in Niger State is supervising the one in Niger, and so it is with all the Ministry of Youth across the country. It's a national policy, and in every organization out there, youth platform must be registered or is registered with the Ministry of Youth to operate. And if they are registered, they automatically they automatically come or operate under the Youth Council of Nigeria. Now, very quickly, all we need to do now is that there is a role for government identifying these groups, selecting them, knowing who are serious, and then bringing them on board. Government has responsibility. The issue of founding the conducive environment, government has accessibility to land and other things. But then the role of NGOs cannot be overemphasized in this thing. Independent NGOs, organizations like yours must understand that, of course, peace that they pursue cannot be guaranteed if the young people become jobless more at time. And I know it's one of the reasons why you have taken this critical assignment. So therefore, you have a role to play. Yours is a very good, formidable, and then international organization that any other stakeholder out there take serious. Therefore, by the time you work with the Federal Ministry of Youth and Agriculture, identify, even if it's a one camp in a state, the way they do this NYC camp, in each of the 36 states, we have NYC camp. When you identify this youth through already this platform that they are registered and recognized by government, therefore, already you have identified them. We have a list, bunch of lists, many of them, hundreds and thousands of youth platforms. Now is to look at them, work on them, select those ones that are committed, are serious, and at what level they want to participate. It is important to know at what level they want to participate. They want to go into real farming, they want to go into fertilizer production, local, this organic, this thing. They want to go into the value, the marketing, whatever chain they want to participate, identify them at that level. Those that have not registered with the government, ask them, give them time, let them go and do, and then identify which part they want to participate in. After that, then hand them over to organizations like yours. Then make sure the training is holistic. Put them, give them what we call boot camp. 4 months, 3 months, 6 months. You understand? Then be able to teach them generally and then segregate them into these different sectors or what they will do. And then by that time, government have provided this land. And then they begin to go into land. And those ones that will go into other value chain will begin to now wait and begin to follow. And then that is some of the ways that you can be able to eliminate these things. But government, NGOs like yours, and then the National Youth Council have a role to play significantly in ensuring we identify and bring to table these young people that can likely go into farming and other value chain it provides. Going forward, in the table, there must be place for young people. That is the key. We must, our policy makers will have to understand that why, when you want to come up with policy, there are so many, even after COVID-19, there are so many. You see a lot of people getting access to 500,000, and then they went and buy this rubber machine. I have had one story of someone who have bought 2, that one is only good for going to mosque on Friday, and one is for daily other days. Now, if this type of young people can have access to 500,000, even not going to the real farming, he can use it to purchase some of these things that are produced in the farm. When you check around, even today as I'm moving, I saw women and men coming out with egusi and other produce, including maize from the forage. At the Madala and Zubajosh.
Mahmoud, I want to thank you for your contribution. Very quickly, from what you have said, in the recent times, monies for COVID-19 and other monies have been released by the government. Now, in the time past, the government has said lazy Nigerian youth. Now these monies are coming, and you've made a very good revelation. One of the rubber for going to mosque and the other. But I'm saying that how can the youth, you see, this is the youth, so to say, don't have, initially I said, a mindset issue. How can the youth be brought into possibly a synergy? How can the youth be trained, possibly as a group, so that these funds can be accessed, directed to achieve the goals that they are meant for? Please, Aisha, I want you to discuss on this matter very quickly.
I'm sorry, please, can you go over your question again? I'm sorry.
I was saying that Mahmoud gave a very revealing information that in recent times, monies have been released by government from COVID-19 and other monies, name them, but the youths at individual levels have not been able to manage these monies properly. So how can the youths be synergized into groups so that these monies that are released can be properly channeled to achieve the set goal?
Okay, it still goes back to what I keep saying about the youth. One, I would say we are not ready. And then secondly, it has to do with mindsets. They have to change. I think we need to have continuously have, because right now, unfortunately, irrespective of how much you want to try, there are still people that you're going to find difficulty in moving with because of the things that we see in the internet and social media. So I think basically the first thing we need to do is consistently conscientize the youth on the things to do to develop themselves much more than just wanting quick cash and I'm looking for another word to use, because for them, everything they see is just quick cash to use it to make money, do this, buy phone, buy rubber, like he said. Even if you break them into groups, break them into clusters, into groups, fund them, even monitor them. But I think monitoring, breaking them into clusters, funding them and monitoring them, and then mentoring them, if they are mentorable, mentoring them will help. Let me just stop here. Did you hear me, please? Breaking them into clusters, funding, monitoring, evaluating, and then mentoring.
Aisha, I heard you very well. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Honorable Commissioner, I have to come to you very quickly. You are in the government, and pardon? Please, the representative of the commissioner, if you are here, I want you to speak quickly on this matter. You are the eye of the government. How has the government been able to enhance or been able to contribute, or what are the feasible plans of the government to involve the youth so that they could be, as much as possible, to participate in agriculture in Nigeria? Okay, Abdullah Ishaq, you can speak, please.
All right, thank you. You asked a question of how we synergize the youth into these food insecurity challenges. Just like what my brother, my leader, and a comrade said, and what Aisha also said, it goes in line this way. We have Federal Ministry of Agriculture, we have Federal Ministry of Youth, we have the Ministry of Youth and Sport, we have the National Orientation Agency, we have NEMA, we have SEMA, we have other food security agencies. Now, we need our representatives from these government arms. Because just like what she said, it has to be a two-way thing, the government and the youth. The youth need to be trained, need to be supported, and need to be monitored for results to be achieved. Many of these youths have potential, but they don't know it, or they've not yet realized it until they are being guided to that line. So from the grassroots, at ward level, let's recognize a committee that will come up with, even if it is with a few number at the start, we can take 20-20 or 50-50 at the start, and also train them. After training them, we monitor them. We support them. After supporting them, they go into practice, and monitoring exercises will be taking place until result is being achieved. Now we can train them in terms of the food production. Some sets can be trained in terms of food storage. Some can be trained in terms of food processes. Now, when we're able to do that at the ward level and it's been able to give a good result, then we upgrade to the local government level. When we're able to achieve that, we upgrade to the state level. And by the time we're able to achieve that, inculcating this to achieve the national targets, I think it will not be a big case again. So these youth can be synergized by applying all these modalities. She has said it. Having the mindset is one thing. Orienting them is another thing. And monitoring them also is another thing. We can see, like in Niger State, I believe the Basic Education Board, in collaboration with Ministry of Education, I think, and Youth, have started a program of such in the basic educational system, like the primary schools. They have this agricultural program they do. They give them, they identify them, give them funds, they engage into the practice, then they send supervisors to monitor the activities time to time. And at the end of the term, or at the end of the session, they get results. So youth, I believe, if these modalities can be put in place, just like, as I said earlier, my comrade, Mr. Mohammed, have said it, and she also has said it. I think we have given a justifiable answer to your question of how can youth be synergized into the food security challenges. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ishaq. In 2 minutes, please. Insecurity and food security. Insecurity and food security. A summary, please. Abakar Mohammed. I said in 2 minutes, please. Insecurity and food security. A summary of that, please. Mohammed.
Yes, please. Thank you very much. You see, there are two things that you cannot separate. Without security, of course, not only food security, there is nothing serious one can achieve. I think we know that. So therefore, they go hands together, and it is very important for us going forward to know that our farms, our lands must be secure before we can begin to talk about even improvement on the issue of insecurity. The access to land must be is very important. When you look at what is happening within the Maiduguri axis, and the Zamfara and KB axis. Those are places where serious farming activities is happening in this country. And with these challenges, we are only left with few places like Zamfara and Co that are, of course, they are doing well there. I want to quickly downgrade small and then report something. This morning, I entered Niger State from Nasarawa State. And while I was going, I branched a farm at Gete there in Nasarawa State in Kayana local government that is owned by a young man, Resto Tedeke. He's a former Niger Delta militant, ex-militant. And then, you know, when he have amnesty and he decided to come to this part of the country. And then if you go to that farm now, he has employed over 100 people farming in about, I think about 80 to 100 hectares of, thousands hectares of land. The vice president, even last year, governors and other ministers of agriculture have visited that land. They just started that in about 3 years ago. So I think there is a model, a very important model. The Abdul Salam Institute of Peace can liaise with some of us and then pay a visit to some of those facilities. And then you will see one that you even can't believe that a young Nigerian, an ex-militant for that saying, is doing that great. People are investing in that farm and he's doing a lot. And government are going there to see what he's doing. Like I've said before, vice president, governors, and other things have visited that farm. Just the day before yesterday, I was in the farm. And then if you see so many things, and it is growing from grass, you understand, from grass to grass. He has been able to start with maize, about, I think, 20 hectares. He has gone into rice. He has gone into now these are chickens and so many other fish farming and other things. So, and it is because of the relative peace that is enjoyed from that angle. If not, I think the farm will have to be abandoned. But so you see, it's important for us to have peace. It is important for us to ensure that the farm are safe for us to begin to farm. But while doing so, I want to report that there are models. It is working not far from us here. Not far from us. We try also to begin to also how to talk to him so that in Niger State we can begin to copy, and then even in Kwara they are willing to do that. So I think there is a model and it is working. It will just depend on the stakeholders and those people who can commit their resources and time in order to bring this thing to the fore and then ensure that so many youth at cluster level, that the way Aisha and my other friends have emphasized, that we identify these people, then put them into cluster, train them. We have NYC camps, we have resources available. We have these NYC camps. It's not all the day that coppers are there. Within that 3 months or so that these coppers are not there, let us identify those people. We must not start in a very large scale. Like I have said, we can take model, even if it is 2 clusters. The Abdul Salam Institute of Peace can try that. With just 2 clusters, maybe one in Niger, and then we find one state in the West, and then try it also. Then before you know, with absolute monitoring, access to funding, and the National Bank can key into that. So I think it is important that peace is a guarantor to issue of food security in Nigeria. Thank you very much. Are you with me? Can you hear me? Is someone hearing? Okay, thank you. I think the convener is busy. So I think it is important, like I've said earlier, so that before the convener can be able to get back to us, it is important that as young people, we begin to look at, even some of us who are participating in this program, those of us who are interested can come forward. Let us begin to see how, as young people, we can begin to bring ourselves together. At times like this, government responsibility as to what to do and what not to do has been relegated to the state of Nadaya. When you say you are waiting for government at this point in time, I'm telling you, as young people, we will not probably get far. So we need to come up with regard to what we are saying. We need to take it serious that going forward.
All right. Thank you very much, Mohammed. Thank you so much. I appreciate your contribution.
Thank you.
Aisha, I want you to also throw light on this. Insecurity and food security, the way forward. 2 minutes, please, as we round up. Hello, Aisha, are you with me? I want you to contribute very fast on this as we round up in a way of summary. Insecurity and food security, the way forward.
Like I said earlier, the youth, food security, the youth need to put themselves together, change mindset, and then the government needs to put different things that are required to be put in place. Youth leader has said it earlier, there is no need for me to break down everything that the government needs to put in place, but without security, nobody can go to the farm. Without providing funding for people, they can't get to do, without providing the necessary financial or backing that they need, encourage them, provide for mentoring, provide for breaking young people into clusters, making agriculture lucrative, providing industries that will process most of the things that they get from their farm. Good roads, again, from government to be able to transport these things out. There will be no hope for food security in Nigeria. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate your contribution. Comrade, sorry, Birthday, I'm unmuting you to contribute very fast. Please, you can unmute your, so that you can.
Can you hear me now? Hello, can you hear now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Yeah, on another particular program. And insecurity, especially as it affects food security, I think first one, what we need to do is to try to see how we can support the youth to make sure that they have access to credit and finance, such that, you know, through establishment of business, agricultural business incubation centers, where youth can actually develop themselves. We create the Nigerian Youth Development Fund, even though the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund has been created, but there is the need for that Nigerian Youth Development Fund as enshrined by the National Youth Policy. It needs to be created so that youth can have access to funds where they can now go into this agriculture without much problem. And then the most important thing again is for them to have access to land for agricultural purposes. Now, probably as it is now, there is the need to also review this Land Use Act. And we also need to establish the Youth Agricultural Incubation Center, as I said before. And for example, now we need to allocate at least maybe 50% of the land in the River Basin Development Authorities to youth for agricultural production in Nigeria. Now, we have so many other youth leaders, like Mohammed is already there. So the issue of youth mentorship and capacity building, especially even in the field of volunteerism, is another important thing. So all these things will help actually in boosting food productivity. And food productivity actually ensures food security. And there will be no way we can have food security if we have insecurity. So insecurity has a very, very great impact on food security. And it is only when there is peace that we can have the chance and opportunity to go back to the farm. And it is only when we go back to the farm and use all the necessary modern technologies, both even in terms of seed production to crop production, down to the land itself, and up to the harvest, and even post-harvest storage and other processes. All these things are very, very important. But with the availability of technology, and we have the youths, abundant youths all over the country, we are a blessed country, especially in terms of youth population. Our demography is very, very blessed, and we have the potential to produce enough, not even for Nigeria, but even for the whole Africa. So I want to believe that with all these little things, we shall have a way forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We want to thank all the discussants. I want to thank all the discussants on this sensitive matter. Aisha Wakaso, journalists and activists, youth activists, thank you so very much. The comrade, Mohammed, we all appreciate you, and every other discussant on this program. And Madam Birdie, you, who is representing government, we appreciate you for your time, and we hope when we call you next on a program like this that concerns the youth, you are obliged to be with us. Thank you so very much. We appreciate you. So on this note, we want to close this program, and we say thank you for everything. Have a good day. Meeting.